This forum today that we're having at such a crucial time in our country, I'd like to say things aren't so bad, but I think that we know things are pretty bad right now. We had the country almost taken over if a certain group of people in this country had their way. There would be someone in office who doesn't believe in the rights, in equal rights, in civil rights. They're about being in power. There are committees right now. There are people going to jail because the Constitution is important, even though it wasn't always fair to us. So you're going to hear from different people today, and I'll be speaking on the issues that had to do with black people in particular in this country, because we fought in every single war. We have been here from the beginning, and there's even someone running for office who says we learned and benefited from slavery because we learned skills. Someone like that running for office is very, very dangerous. We have not seen anything like this since the Strom Thurmond days and the Dixiecrats in the 60s and so on and so forth. If you go back beyond then, the Congress changed so much, and now we're rolling it back. LGBTQ, they're just as much in danger and more so than ever now. We have people attacking Disney. And when I say people, we have to call out what this is, because some people say you can't be political. Well, when one group of people that happen to be from a certain party is the one carrying that banner, I have to say what it is. Racism is very much held under the Republican Party, under the MAGA root. Now, I didn't make this up. If you read the newspaper, if you pay attention, I want you to know about a guy who literally started his own racial segregation party. And this is when President Obama was elected. People said you can't have a third party in America. Well, guess what? We did. It was called the Tea Party. You guys remember the Tea Party? Is the Tea Party around now? Is President Obama around now? That's not a coincidence, because they understand the idiosyncrasies that America has. The majority of people in America are just like us. We want to find solutions of people coming over the border. We want to welcome our children and our families that have LGBTQ, trans, whatever they are, to be able to live amongst each other and not judge them. There's another group of people who are in power in this country that are saying no. There's no place for that. And Florida has turned into a staging ground for that particular thing. They are rewriting black history as we speak. If you read if you read the newspaper, Ron DeSantis has decided that the history about America that embarrasses America, we shouldn't have it. In fact, it's got to be changed to things that don't affect or upset young white children. These are not my words, these are his words, and he stands upon them. He has a legislature that has put into law a curriculum that says, and it's teaching through cartoons, that says slavery wasn't so bad. It was better that than being killed. I'm not exaggerating. The great thing about this, what we're doing today, Google is out there. If you use it for something more, and I'm not saying everybody here does, entertainment, directions, it's right there in front of us. This generation is so it is just so impacted by social media, turning brains and minds to mush because they just want you to buy things. They want to sell you lies. They want to say, we're not winning. I'm telling you we were winning. I'm telling you, when George Floyd was killed, God always has a plan. Because while people were dying, at the same time, we saw something that no one could turn away from. We saw a police officer with the knee on the neck of a man who was begging for his life, who was calling for his mother. before he loved every breath in his body. I couldn't imagine that. If a man is calling out to his mother, it is telling you that he has a serious issue. The man died. America came together and they marched everywhere. White kids, black kids, Latino. It became a global issue. People had to say, I did see it. They couldn't turn away because they couldn't go to work. When that happened and we were unified, it also started a whole nother group of people who said they're coming together and we cannot have that. And that's why we are where we are today, because they came in and said we have to take our role in politics. We have to get elected. We have to go into places and make changes so things are the way that they want. Richard Spencer started the alt-right movement. Alt-right is a term of white supremacy. That's what it means. He speaks it plainly. He calls Trump his God. They give the Sieg Heils to him, and that's why there's this huge spike in things against people like us. This church, to me, represents what America is. The right people doing the right thing. But we have to get together, stand together, and listen to each other's stories today and use them as fuel. They're from different arenas that you people today are going to speak from. And I need them to understand they have a job to do past this. I'm going to bring...
That's your step.
Thank you, Laura. Whoever's watching this, you're going to see a few more of these, so... You know, my shirt says, power to the people. On the back, people have the power. That's always what it has been. And if you understand that, then we're winning. Because too many of us are staying home and saying somebody else is going to do what we're supposed to do, and then nobody went. Elections are happening. People are being elected that are hurting and going to hurt us, and they have a plan. And they have a plan against churches like this and people like her in this audience. And if we're not careful, they can win, but they're not winning now. We just see a lot of new stuff, but they're not winning now, and we can't allow them to. So much to Laura's message, we have to be who we're supposed to be and do something. You know, today, and we're about to wrap this up, understanding what we're really dealing with, we have a media. People say that the media is all the devil. There's two sides to the media. They're telling you the truth. You're picking what you want to hear. And if you pick one thing, you're going to hear one thing. You pick another, you're going to hear another. I hear the stories. I see the pictures of gay, queer, black, brown, being beaten, being bloodied, even murdered. But we just move on because we become so desensitized to it. During these last 8 years, we had a president who literally was encouraging it. It changed this country. It's like, don't think about being upset, be upset. Confront people at holiday time. When you have Thanksgiving, if you don't like black people or Latino people or gay people, you confront them right there. And you know, there was always that small group of people who were like that. So the internet is great, but the problem is that it connected us, but it also connected them. So the people who are extreme over in Kentucky and that handful that were over there in New York, and some of them were down there, they came together and they tried to keep a president in office that was supposed to be out. And they're still mad about it today because they didn't succeed. And factually, if they were black or Latino people that were storming that wall, we all know that would have been the bloody day, the January 6th, when a whole lot of people who look like us were dead. America has a tolerance for racism. And that's what we're talking about, facing and fighting and understanding that. And through our white counterparts, sharing that, because you know that as much as anybody, especially my white male friends, and you know, Rick, we spoke about this many times, Brian and now Ken, that there's a tolerance that we have that we're just programmed that black and brown people are different, they should fear us, and they fuel that. The replacement theory that's happening right now is what led abortion. If a woman can't have abortion, when the Supreme Court rules this, it means they have to have the children. One of the big fears of racism with replacement theory is that there's not enough white children being born. So even though that can affect us, remember the majority of people, black and brown people, we're about 30% of the country. If you add us all together, the rest is still white. But they're concerned because there's a browning of America. There is actually people coming together out of love, and they're creating blended families. You can call them biracial, you call them black, and that whole psychological thing is going on. And they want to win with that. When you change the laws, you change how people live. Slavery was always wrong, but it was legal. It took hundreds of years to change that. We're about to do that now. If you want to teach a real history, teach the truth that Columbus never set foot in America. They're still teaching that he did. You want the truth? Paul Revere never even made it. There's a whole nother person. There were two other writers aside from him. He never did what he got the credit for. So you can make history what you want. As far as what happened today, anyone that's watching or in the audience, you just go to Not Just Us, NJU, and you can add yourself to the Facebook page. Whatever you have that you promote, we'll promote it for you. If you want us to come and do one of these types of events, we always connect with the community to see exactly what you need, and we can bring speakers, you have your own, and then we bring all of our resources together. I know we're like way super duper over time, but you know, Brian, who was up here, I had to introduce him because Brian's a guy that I met at Justice Southbury's event. I've been super blessed to work with some amazing people throughout history, and I don't know why God works this thing out, but I found some local people, including Chris over here, because I did a lot of stuff like nationally. So I worked with Emmett Till's family out in Chicago. Erica was her great niece, and she passed away like the first year of COVID. And hearing their story, I have a signed copy of the book that they came out. I brought them to the University of Bridgeport. Wheeler Parker, he was the one who was actually inside the house with Emmett Till when they took him that night. You know, they're amazing people. I videoed that stuff. I'm on the board of the Harriet Tubman Learning Center down in Powder Springs, Georgia. That's the great niece of Harriet Tubman. Her name was Rita Daniels, and I brought her up for Juneteenth for Weston. It was their first Juneteenth ever, and I was very excited about that. So when I say that, and you get to work with people, and they all have the same commitment, they all have the same discussion. And I talked to Rita Daniels, who was three greats of Harriet Tubman. She's like the closest thing. She's recognized by Wikipedia and everything else. She's concerned with this country, and her family is saying, it looks like we're going backwards, but we're going to fight. So I knew when I got that family behind me, and I got my people here, whether it's in Danbury or Southbury, across Connecticut, I know we good. Brian founded this organization because he had two black children that he adopted in Rocky Hill. The school system was giving him a hard time up there. Kids were being very horrible to them, all the racist nonsense you can imagine. And his kids came home upset, even with the teachers. He went to the school, they basically kind of blew it off, and he said, you know, you're just not gonna let my kids be embarrassed or humiliated, and he started Not Just Us. So that little white guy that you saw over there is my good friend. He did this on his own, and what he did was he reached out, and I met him at a rally at Justice Southbury. I had my own organization that was online, and we were doing interviews with senators and congressmen and regular people, and man, we just had synergy. So there's no reason that every single one of you should not be part of it, because you can represent yourself or a group. We don't care. This is about social justice. We're all in the church, so I will just say thank you for joining us. May God bless all of you that came out today. May you travel safely. May you arrive home at an early hour. Try to beat the traffic. And please, God, keep everybody safe. Keep us strong, because we know the battle is not to the swift, it's to the persistent. God bless you all. Amen.